Hey there, Nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate. We're back with another episode of Way of the Underhive. This is a series that's dedicated to brand new players in Necromunda to learn about the rules as well as tactics, strategies, and game mechanics of their favorite gangs, so that way they can use those in their very first campaigns of Necromunda. And in today's episode, we'll be taking a look at the various starting vehicles that you can purchase for your gangs with the new Ashway supplement. When the Ashway supplement came out, the book of the Outlands gave us the wonderful Wasteland Workshop game mechanic where we can actually build vehicles to use in the Ashways for our gangs. So today we're going to be talking about both styles of vehicles that you can use, what are basically known as the custom vehicles, and what I like to call the STC or standard template construction vehicles. We'll talk about the strengths and weaknesses as well as the positives and negatives of both those sets, and go a little bit more of a deeper dive into the vehicles and the way you use them in your campaigns of Necromunda. So that being said, let's get this video report on a roll. Alright, so when it comes to the vehicles that you can use in the Ashways, you pretty much have two varieties of vehicles. The first type is what are known as custom vehicles. Custom vehicles come in different size classes that come with different upgrades, as well as upgrade slots, weapon slots that you can use to be using your games in Necromunda. These vehicles are kind of neat because you can kind of cobble together whatever you want and use whatever kind of vehicle you want, just as long as it just kind of fits in that class, and then you can afford the upgrades using your credits. They add a lot of flexibility as well as creativity to your games in Necromunda. Now, the other type of vehicles we like to call the STC type of vehicles. These are known as your standard template construction vehicles. These vehicles are actually based on actual miniature kits that Games Workshop actually sells from Warhammer 40,000. These vehicles are the ones that are associated closely with the Gene Stealer cult from Warhammer 40k. So these are things like Rock Grinder trucks, Ridge Runners, as well as Wolf Quads, and the brand new Cargo 8 Ridge Hauler that came out for Necromunda as well. So these are the two different varieties, and we'll be talking about the positives and negatives of both groups, as well as the individual miniature weight classes and class of vehicles are available for both types. So that being said, let's go ahead and talk about using the positive and negative effects of using customized vehicles in your games of Necromunda. So the very first class of vehicle we're talking about are known as the custom vehicles, and there's a lot of positives with using a customized vehicle. One of the things that's great about custom vehicles is that there are a lot more options for vehicle as well as weapon upgrades on a custom vehicle. You can also use trading posts as well as black market trading posts in your campaigns for weapons and war gear to outfit these vehicles as well. Not to mention, probably one of the coolest things, that you can build your vehicle out of whatever vehicle you want to. If you want to use some kind of miniature kit from a different line of vehicles, or if you want to customize, or if you want to convert your own vehicle, that is perfectly fine. Your imagination is pretty much limited by your imagination on how you want to go about making those custom vehicles. At the same time, another big bonus is that they can also be cheaper than actually buying your STC style vehicles. So for example, if there's like a miniature kit that you like that costs, or toys that cost, significantly less than Games Workshop box sets, let's just use to buy those and use those as your custom vehicles, and it'll actually help you save a lot of money. So that particularly speaks to the cheapskate in me, because it's a lot cheaper to build your own custom vehicles, because a lot of amazing options that you can get out there from dollar stores, from toy stores, from Amazon.com. The list goes on where you can get your vehicles from. And another cool thing about using customized vehicles is that when you use the type of locomotion on your vehicle, you can either choose wheeled, which is what the STC vehicles use, which means you use tires and wheels to use your vehicle, or you could put tracks on your vehicle at no additional cost to you. So it makes your vehicles a little bit more maneuverable on the battlefield, which is really cool as well. So these are some of the positives of using your own custom vehicles in your campaigns in Necromunda. Now, of course, there is some negatives for using your own customized vehicles in games in Necromunda. One of the rules that they actually have for your customized vehicles is known as jury rig. Jury rig basically states that if you decide to pay for repair costs in your Ashways campaign to repair your vehicles from any kind of lasting damage that's done to your vehicles, it's going to cost you twice as much to make those repairs. Now, a lot of people, when they bought the Book of the Outland, had questions about the repair game mechanic being used in campaigns in Necromunda, and including myself as well. And the reason why is because those rules are actually found in the Ashways rulebook that came with the starter box. But don't stress out, we will talk about that repair game mechanic a little more detail in a later slide. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So that's one bit negative that you have when it comes to customized vehicles. Another negative about using custom vehicles is that a lot of the more powerful weapon options that STC type vehicles can use, such as autocannons, missile launchers, and mining lasers, are not available right off the bat for your custom vehicles. In fact, the custom vehicles all basically use the same list for weapons as well as custom upgrades when they first actually build them, when you first build them for your first campaign. Those weapons are pretty much limited to grenade launchers, long heavy stubbers, harpoon launchers, as well as the mining laser, as that's the only thing you can actually start off with. Now you of course buy things as the campaign develops, but some of the STC type vehicles have more powerful weapons than you do when you get that. Another problem that you also run into, of course, is what you have no automatic transport area for your vehicles. Transport areas are basically where the gang members of your gang actually go to ride the vehicle. If you don't have a designated transport area in your vehicle, your gangers have to take initiative tests to see if they manage to hold on to the vehicle as it's rocketing across the wasteland. The STC vehicles do have transport areas in their vehicles already, while the custom vehicles don't. So you'll have to spend some credits when you actually create this in order to get that for your vehicle as well. And another thing is also another problem too is that the custom vehicles cost more per vehicle in terms of credits in the game than the STC vehicles. The STC vehicles are noticeably cheaper than the custom vehicles, so you do have to worry about that. And that's some of the negatives of actually using custom vehicles in your campaign. Alright, so now that we're done talking about custom vehicles, let's go ahead and talk about what I like to call the standard template construction vehicles, also known as the STC vehicles. So these vehicles can equip weapons and war gear from the trading post as well as the black market, just like their custom counterparts can, so that part's really nice about that. So if later on you want to upgrade to a much more damaging weapon for your STC vehicles, you can definitely do that as well. Another thing that's really great about these Genestealer Cult vehicles is that they automatically come with a transport area automatically. You don't have to pay for that upgrade for your vehicles, it's automatically given to your vehicle's profile, so that part's really nice as well. Not to mention you also get some really powerful starting weapons like missile launchers, as well as auto cannons and things of that nature, heavy flamers, that sort of thing. So it's actually really nice to have that as well. Another cool thing too is that if you play Warhammer 40,000 and you are a Genestealer Cult player, you could actually use your vehicles in your army in your games in Necromunda, which is really, really nice. So if you play Warhammer 40k, you can double dip into Necromunda very easily for the Ashways, because you can take those same vehicles like Goliath rock trucks, Achilles Ridge Runners, your Jackals, as well as your quads from your Jackals. You can bring those into the game and use them right off the bat, which is really nice as well. So if you're a Genestealer Cult player for Warhammer 40k, you're thinking about getting to Necromunda, play a Genestealer Cult game, because you can use those vehicles in your campaign, which is going to save you a ton of money in order to do that. So that's really cool as well. At the same time, another added benefit is that the credit costs for your vehicles, which are STC formatted, they cost a lot less than the custom vehicles. And so because that you can have more vehicles with better equipment and better upgrades, then people are using customized vehicles right off the bat. At the same time, there are also some negatives with using STC vehicles. One of the negatives about this is that vehicle upgrades are extremely limited to your vehicle's list. So whereas the customized vehicles can put whatever they want, the starting list for your STC vehicles, those are the only upgrades you can shop from. Okay, so for example, if you guys were actually planning on using a Ridge Runner, for example, which is the Achilles Ridge Runner that's used by the Genestealer cultists, for example, let's say you wanted to do drive upgrades. You only have 2 drive upgrades that you can select from, and those are the only 2 that you can use, whereas customized vehicles can use as many as they want to. So that's one of the negatives about using an STC vehicle as well. At the same time, let's say you don't play Genestealer cults, but you want to buy these STC vehicles for your gang. They can be pretty expensive to purchase from your kits. You're looking anywhere between $50 to $60 per vehicle if you plan on using like a Ridge Runner or a Goliath Rock Crusher. So if you want to have that whole what you see is what you get type of look, WYSIWYG as it's known as, it's going to cost you more money than a customized vehicle could as well. And the last negative about STC vehicles, the only locomotion they have is for wheeled only. Alright, so one of the things we're going to talk about real quick are what are known as the repair rules. So for people who purchased just the Book of the Outlands and didn't purchase the starter box set for Necromunda the Ashways, a lot of us have questions about that jury rig rule about, okay, paying for repairs. That rule was not included in the Book of the Outlands. So if you wanted to actually learn what that was, you had to basically get the Necromunda Ashways rulebook from the box set. Now luckily for me, I was able to go on eBay. I was able to buy the actual rulebook just by itself, as well as the tokens, as well as the gaming aids. I was able to get that pretty good for a pretty good price, around $65 on Amazon. So because sorry, not Amazon, on eBay. So because I was able to get that rule and take a look at it, so let's go and talk about what ends up happening. So in the Ashways campaign, if your vehicles suffer what is known as lasting damage is pretty much like lasting injuries on a fighter, where it actually affects the stats or puts special rules on your vehicle for taking that damage. It also operates like the critical injury medical escort mission type game mechanic that you see whenever your characters suffer critical injuries as well. Pretty much what you do is that you have to go to get your vehicle repaired, roll D6, and it kind of determines what happens. And like I said before, because you're driving custom vehicles, the jury rig price that you'll use to fix your vehicle doubles the cost. And we're going to talk about exactly how much that would cost here on the next slide. So what you would do, of course, is you would take your fighter and you roll a d6, and whatever you roll in that d6 will determine the cost of the repairs for your vehicle. So for example, if you rolled a 1 through 3, your repair costs up to 50% of the vehicle's cost with upgrades to replace all the vehicle's damaged components. And when you do that, you end up with the persistent rattle lasting damage on your vehicle, representing the fact that the repair wasn't as good. On a roll of 4 to 5, your repairs cost up to 50% of the vehicle's cost with its upgrades, but everything is fine. And if you roll a 6, your repair cost only costs 25% of the vehicle's cost with upgrades, and you have a fully healed vehicle. So as you can see, if you were to use the jury rig special rule, because you're using customized vehicles, it would cost you 100% of the vehicle's cost with upgrades if you rolled 1 through 5, and only on a 6 would only be 50%. So that's where that twist comes in with the jury rig rule with your customized vehicles on that part. So now that we're done talking about the positive and negative of using custom vehicles versus STC vehicles, as well as talk about the repair rules, let's go ahead and talk about the various different templates and classes of vehicles and talk about what you can do with them. Alright, so first of all, let's go and talk about the custom vehicle templates with the light template real quick. So light template vehicles cost you 50 credits. They have a vehicle characteristics of 7-inch movement, toughness of 3 for front, side, and rear for toughness. You also have 1 health point, a hull point for the vehicle, a 6+ for handling, and a 5+ for save. Now, the nice thing about this vehicle, of course, is when it comes to upgrade slots, you do have 1 slot for your body for your vehicle, 2 for your drive, as well as 2 for your engine. So that part's really cool. It also comes with 1 weapon hard point as well. Now, when it comes to your guys' light template vehicles, the thing about these vehicles, for your custom ones, are really good for scouting. So if you want to do some scouting up ahead of the rest of your caravan, you can do that. Or if you want to seize an objective very quickly, you can use the light vehicle to do that. Another cool way about using these light template vehicles is to put a heavy weapon of some sort on there, so that way it becomes a very mobile heavy weapons platform, so that we can cause all kinds of destruction to your enemies. So think of it as a fast moving heavy weapons support vehicle, and actually you wouldn't really go all that wrong with using a light template vehicle for your custom vehicles. So these things are actually quite cool. Now, another really cool light vehicle you can use as well for another custom vehicle template is what's known as the Walker template. So these are vehicles that use legs in order to maneuver around the battlefield. Now, these guys cost 70 credits apiece. For their vehicle characteristics, they have a 5-inch movement. For their toughness characteristics, they have 3 front, 3 side, and 3 rear. They have 2 hull points, a handling value of 4+, as well as a save of 5+. Now, at the same time, your Walker template also comes with 2 slots for body upgrades, 1 slot for drive upgrades, and 2 slots for engine upgrades, and it comes with 1 weapon hardpoint as well. Now, you might be wondering, what's the point of using a Walker template vehicle if it's about the same as a light template vehicle but costs 20 credits extra? The reason why is because this vehicle, because it uses legs, it has the ability to make unlimited turns. Whenever you're using your vehicles in games of Necromunda Ashways, you have to actually limit the number of actions you can do by taking turns with your vehicles, if they're wheeled, tracked, or otherwise. But for a vehicle that uses legs, they can make any unlimited number of turns, which actually makes them perfect for mobile heavy weapons platforms. So that way you can put a heavy weapon on your walker. If you need to face whatever direction in order to engage your enemy, you can do so, and you can take your target out with that weapon as well. So that's the only reason why you want to use a walker template. My opinion is to put some kind of heavy weapon on it, like a mining laser or something of that nature, and just rain heck upon your enemy, because you can easily target your enemies and destroy their vehicles or their fighters. Alright, so the next template weapon that we have is what's known as the medium vehicle. This one costs 135 credits. Let's go and talk about its stats real quick. So it's got a movement characteristic of 6. For its toughness, it's got 5 for front, side, and rear. For its hull points, it's got 3. For handling, it's got a 7+, and it's got a 4+ for its save characteristic. Now, the nice thing about this vehicle as well is that its locomotion, of course, consists of wheels. When it comes to its upgrade slots, it has 2 body, 2 drive, as well as 3 upgrade slots, as well as 2 weapon hardpoints. Now, when it comes to the medium template vehicle, in my opinion, the medium template is actually the most versatile of the vehicle templates available in the custom vehicle tree that you could pick from. The reason why, because a lot of things you could do with it. You could either make it into a heavy weapons platform that could lay down a lot of destructive long-range fire. You can make it into a very fast maneuvering vehicle with its drive as well as its engine upgrades as well. Or at the same time, you could also even make it into a transport vehicle if you want to as well, to rapidly deploy your fighters as well. That 6+ movement is really going to help it really kind of zip around the battlefield really quickly, and it also get your troops to where they need to get to. So because I feel that the medium template is the most versatile, and that's probably what you want to spend most of your points on if you want to get vehicles for your gang. Now, the very last template we're going to talk about is the heavy template, and this thing costs 175 credits for your gang. For its characteristics, it's got a 5-inch for movement, 7 for front, 7 for side, and 7 for rear toughness. It's got 4 hold points, 8+ for handling, and 4+ for save. And of course, when it comes to locomotion, you can either choose wheeled or tracked rear locomotion. You can upgrade to tracks without any cost, but you do suffer that -1 movement penalty if you decide to upgrade your slots. Now, when it comes to your upgrade slots, you have 4 slots for body, 3 for drive, and 2 for engine. It also comes with 2 weapon hard points. And when it comes to this vehicle, I'm going to be straight out flat out, you guys. This is going to be the slowest of the vehicle templates, especially if you decide to go with a tracked version of this vehicle. It ends up only having a movement characteristic of 4. However, what the heavy template vehicle is designed for, pretty much designed primarily for transport or combat. That's pretty much what you're using these things for. Probably a combination of both. You're using it mainly to transport the vast majority of your gang members across the battlefield and equip with heavy weapons that do some long-range shooting and some destructive firepower that way. And that's pretty much what it is to do. The reason why is because it's very difficult to make this vehicle very fast because they only have 2 upgrades for their engine. So making this vehicle go faster than 6 inches is going to be very, very difficult to do. So keep that in mind if you decide to go the heavy template vehicle. But if you're looking for something to transport most of your guys, this is probably the template for you guys. So now that we're done talking about the customized vehicle, let's go ahead and do a real quick overview of talking about the different standard template constructed vehicles that you could use for your gang as well. So one of the first vehicles we're going to talk about when it comes to the STC templates is the Wolf Quad. The Wolf Quad is basically the ATV vehicle that is available for Gene Stealer cult gangs. Usually you find this in the Jackal box sets. So these vehicles cost 70 credits a piece, and for their characteristics, they have an 8-inch movement characteristics. So right off the bat, they're pretty quick, pretty fast, and really fast that way. Now, when it comes to vehicle characteristics, they have only 3 for front, side, and rear toughness. They have 2 hull points, 5+ for handling, as well as 5+ for save. Now, they do come with a special rule called Agile, which means when performing a move simple action, this vehicle may make up to 2 turns up to 9 degrees at any point before, during, or after its move, rather than the usual one. And the reason why is because it's such a fast vehicle. At the same time, the only type of locomotion that it actually has is wheeled for that one. Now, when it comes to its upgrade slots for the Wolf Quad, you can have 1 body upgrade, 1 drive upgrade, and 2 engine upgrades. It comes with 1 weapon hardpoint as well. So when it comes to the Wolf Quad is designed to be a perfect mobile weapons platform, in my opinion. The thing you want to put on this thing, because you can purchase heavy flamers, heavy stubbers, or heavy lasers with it from its starting roster of equipment list, I would suggest putting a heavy weapon of some sort. Mining laser would be perfect for actually penetrating the hull of enemy vehicles and causing damage to enemy vehicles that way. Heavy flamer could actually do a really good job against lighter vehicles or against enemy fighters. Same thing with heavy stubber. So that's how I use the Wolf Quad. You just equip with a heavy weapon to make it to a mobile weapons platform, so that way it can rain destruction down on your enemy as well as your enemy's vehicles. Alright, so up next we're going to talk about the Achilles Ridge Runner, and the Achilles Ridge Runner is basically the STC version of a medial hull vehicle, and just like I said before, these medium hull vehicles are actually quite versatile. Just to give you guys an idea about the cost associated for your gang, a Ridge Runner only costs 95 credits, while a customized medium vehicle costs 135. So like I said before about the positive and negatives of taking STC vehicles, this is definitely a positive. So it's going to cost you 95 credits, and for stats, it has a 7-inch movement, 5 front toughness, 4 side and rear toughness. It also has 3 hull points, a 7+ for handling, as well as a 5+ for save as well. And it also has wheels for its locomotion. Another thing that's nice about this vehicle, it automatically comes with a transport area in the back of the vehicle, so that way you don't have to worry about paying for that upgrade right off the bat. Now, when it comes to its vehicle upgrade slots, you do have 3 open slots for body upgrades, 3 for drive upgrades, and 2 for engine upgrades. It also comes with 2 weapon hardpoints, one that's operated by the crew of the vehicle, and one that will be operated by the passengers on the back of the vehicle as well. And just like its custom vehicle counterpart, the Ridge Runner is the most versatile of the STC template vehicles. You could use it as a heavy weapons platform, you could use it as a speed racer, you could also put transport troops on it, so it's very, very viable that way. In fact, my suggestion to you, if you want to have multiple vehicles to carry your entire gang across the battlefield, probably invest in 2 or 3 Ridge Runners for your gangs. That's probably going to actually do it for you guys, which makes it really awesome. At the same time, this vehicle is no slouch in combat either. It has the ability to take mining lasers, also twin-linked heavy stubbers. It could take motors. It can also take a missile launcher with both frag as well as crack missiles. So this thing can actually do some really serious killing as well. So that might be something you want to look into when you're trying to plan out what kind of vehicles you want to purchase for your gang. Now, the very last vehicle we're going to talk about for the STC templates, of course, is the Rock Grinder truck. This vehicle costs you 145 credits, so let's go ahead and talk about its stats real quick. It's got a 5-inch movement characteristic, as well as 7 front and side toughness, as well as 6 rear toughness. It has 4 hull points, 8+ for handling, as well as 4+ for save. And when it comes to its locomotion, it uses wheels in order to do that. And let's talk about this vehicle a little more in detail. It's got 3 upgrade slots for the body, 3 upgrade slots for the drive, as well as 3 upgrade slots for the engine. It comes with 2 weapon hardpoints, one that is crew operated, one that is passenger operated as well. And even though this may be the slowest of the STC builds, it's mainly used for transporting troops as well as combat as well. It does have a transport area in the back of the truck, so you can transport a lot of guys as well. It also has some access to some pretty dangerous weaponry as well as weapon equipment that you use for it. For example, you could put a Rock Grinder ram in the front of it, so that way you can smash into your opponents and cause damage that way if you want to do ramming actions. When it comes to its heavy weapons, it actually has a plethora of heavy weapons it could use, such as a heavy flamer, heavy stubber, mining laser, a seismic cannon, or my personal favorite, the twin-linked autocannon. The twin-linked autocannon is pretty expensive at 185 credits, but anybody's ever watched our Ash Waste campaign, Anarchy Road, can tell you autocannons have been tearing it up with the vehicles, and the vehicles that we use in my campaign setting with my homemade rules were much tougher than the ones that are available in the new official rules, so that autocannon is just going to tear right through them and tear into pieces. In fact, if you notice at some of our Ash Waste builds that we've done so far, we recommended you getting Rock Grinders with the twin-linked autocannons because it's that devastating. So of all the STC vehicles, in my opinion, this one has the most ability to cause most destruction, so that might be something you want to look into when you're actually looking into making for your gangs. So the last vehicle we're talking about real quick is the Guild of Coin Cargo 8 Ridge Hauler. So this is the brand new vehicle that was released by Games Workshop that looks like a land train, which is crisscrosses the Ash Waste and Necromunda that you see in all of its promotional materials. So let's talk about this vehicle real quick. So the only way you can get this vehicle, of course, is if you hire a Guild of Coin Hauler crew member to operate it. It costs 230 credits, so it's by far the most expensive vehicle you can purchase for your gang. Now for statistics, oddly enough, as big as it is, it actually has a movement characteristic of 7 inches, so it's actually pretty swift for the size that it has. It's got a 9 toughness for its front, 8 toughness for its side, and 8 toughness for its rear, so it's very, very heavily armored as well. It's got 6 hull points, which is the most of any vehicle on this list. It's got a 7+ for handling, which is not bad. It's actually much easier to handle than a Goliath Rock Grinder, and it's also got a 3+ save on it as well. Now, it also comes with a transport bed right on the side of the vehicle, as well in the back, so that's really nice as well. It also, when it comes to its upgrades, it's got 4 body upgrade slots, 4 drive upgrade slots, and 4 engine upgrade slots as well. It's also got 1 weapon hardpoint that's crew operated in the front of the cab. And when it comes to the Guild of Coin Cargo 8 Ridge Hauler, it is extremely versatile build. You could use it for a lot of different things. You could be used for transporting trailers that you could purchase for it, which could also make it extremely customized, which also makes it really awesome as well. Now when it comes to the trailers, you can decide what you want to put on the back of the trailers as well. You can get the armored Munitorium Containers, which basically is really good for using it for combat. What it does is that the Munitorium Container acts as an ammo cache that never runs out of ammo, so you could always use that as well. At the same time, also comes with 2 additional weapon hardpoints if you want to put that on there as well. You also have the Promethean tank that you could also put on your vehicle. The Promethean tank also has a transport area, which is kind of cool. At the same time, if it takes any damage, it can actually shoot out 5-inch blast markers on enemies, where it can look like it got hit by the explosive containers within the Promethean tank. At the same time, it also earns you D6 times 10 credits if you actually make it to the end. Additional credits to your gang if you make it and survive the vehicle without being wrecked. It also takes away the scarcity trait on weapons that are within 3 inches of it, so that way you can use free fuel. So people who like plasma, for example, or flamers, this is really going to help you out a lot in order to do that too. So that part is extremely cool. Another thing about this vehicle as well, which really does, is that the vehicle actually really helps you out generate additional income for your gang. There's a special rule called valuable cargo, which means you earn D3 times 10 credits to your stash if you make a run without actually having to without it being wrecked. At the same time, the Guild of Coin Ridge Hauler can be used to make trading actions in the post game. So if you want to use your champions for other things in order to instead of doing trading actions, you can do that as well. So that's the nice part about it. Now, unfortunately, the Cargo 8 Ridge Hauler, the actual official miniature for Games Workshop, as you guys may be aware, is pretty pricey. It's over $100. $100 for that kit, especially if you want to get trailers and such. My suggestion to you would be to look for cheaper alternatives. I know there's a lot of 3D printing files are out there now that you can 3D print and make some really cheap alternatives of these. There's also some companies that are also selling them online as well for as low as 50 to 60 bucks. Me personally, I actually go on Amazon and I buy these huge troop carrier vehicles that I use for mine, and those cost me like $15. So look for really cheap alternatives if you can, so that way you can use them for your guys' cargo weight ridge haulers if you want to use those for your gang. Now that we're done talking about the vehicles, let's go ahead and talk about the upgrades that you can get for your vehicles as well. Now, when it comes to vehicles, you pretty much lump them into 3 different categories, in my opinion, when it comes to your body, engine, and drive upgrades. And one of them, of course, the categories you have are stat increases. Basically what that does is that stat increases either your hull points, your handling ability, or your toughness of your vehicle, or its movement characteristic. Another category I always like to call what I call protection from non-glancing hits category, which are ways to protect your vehicle from non-glancing hits. That way, if you get hit by something that's like a penetrating hit, it ends up being a glancing hit instead, so that way you can have a little more survivability in combat. And then the third category is what I like to call the esoteric type of upgrade, where basically it's more purpose-built. And I'll talk about these a little bit more in detail here a little bit later on in this video. So those are the 3 main categories you have. Ones that give you stat increases, one that protect you from non-glancing hits, and ones that are more purpose-built depending on what you want to do for them. Now, when it comes to your custom vehicles, all custom vehicles have unlimited access to all of these upgrades. They can pick whatever they want from the upgrades list. They have no real handicap to those. You can take whatever you want, which is actually kind of cool. For the standard template vehicles, the STC vehicles, which are the ones that are made for the Gene Stealer cults, they are limited to their equipment lists in the book. So for example, if you wanted to build a cargo weight ridge hauler, for example, and you want to use, let's go with engine upgrades, right? You only have 4 engine upgrades you can choose from: easy turnover engine, engine shell, nitro burner, and smoke vents. Those are the only 4 you can choose from. Let's say you wanted to get plasma coils upgrade for your vehicle. You can't do that, all right, because it's not available on your starting list. Now, you can buy any weapon that you want, but the upgrades are the ones on the list are the only ones you can take, all right? So because of that, that's where the trade-off comes in. Custom vehicles, yes, they do cost more points and credits, but they have unlimited access to all the upgrades, whereas STC vehicles may be cheaper, but they're very limited in their upgrades that they can pick. So whatever is more important to you, I suggest you kind of look at the upgrades that are available for your vehicles, and then you kind of decide from there where you want to go. Alright, so now that we're on the list of some upgrades, I'd like to talk about some of the upgrades that I think are actually pretty cool for your vehicles. One of them, of course, is being your weapon hardpoint. In my opinion, that's kind of cool. So let's say you want to have more weapons than just one weapon hardpoint. You can actually buy this upgrade for your vehicle, and it allows you to put an additional one on top of your hull, so that's kind of cool there too. Another cool one is also known as the transport cage. What this does, it actually protects your fighters as well. So because of that, they can, be protected from being shot at and stuff of that nature as well. Now, if you do a transport cage, you can put more fighters on your vehicle, but it takes a basic action to either embark on your vehicle, to get on the vehicle, or disembark from your vehicle, so keep that in mind as well. Another really cool one is the anti-gravity generator, which is available to customize vehicle. And what the anti-gravity generator does is that it basically makes your vehicle into a skimmer. It says a vehicle fitted with this anti-grav generator gains the skimmer special rule, replacing whatever its current locomotion special rule is. So if you're a Van Sar gang, for example, and you want to make a hover vehicle of some sort that flies around the wasteland, you can do that because you can get that for your custom vehicle as well. Plus, in my opinion, any non-glancing hit upgrade is also really important as well. These vehicles are going to be taking a lot of damage from enemy fire, so having a way to keep your vehicles last a little bit longer in combat is going to be extremely important to you as well. So those are just some of the lists of my favorite upgrades. You can also find more of these upgrades within the Book of the Outlands, and you can take a look at those at your guys' leisure. Alright, so in conclusion, if you want to have vehicles for your gang, but you don't want to buy the Gene Stealer Cult Gang kits in order to make those vehicles, I suggest you go with a custom vehicle. You could probably get some really cheaper alternatives out there in the open market, probably going to toy stores and dollar stores in order to get your vehicles, or Amazon in order to get those. That's what I did for my Ash Waste campaign before the official rules came out. Much cheaper that way. You can make some pretty cool looking vehicles too with your customizations. At the same time though, if you already have the standard template construction vehicles, you already have them, or if you want them, they actually would be really cool to use in your campaign as well because they cost less in terms of credits. So that means you can put better upgrades, better weapons on your vehicles than those who would use customized vehicle. Either way, customized vehicle or STC vehicles, either way, you're going to be really good in Golden. You'll be ready to cause some chaos and do some good old-fashioned fighting in the ash highways of the Ash Waste and Necromunda. So rev it up, head out to the Ash Waste, and cause some chaos. So that's good for those of you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to your channel. That's good for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay classy.